Hello, everyone, and welcome to another live. It's Hannah Hashim, and we've got Bogdan Marzewski with me. And today we're going to continue on the journey of how to start your online business and how to find your students. Now, before we actually start looking at finding your students, we really need to reiterate the fact that for you to be able to find them more effectively, you must, and I mean must, identify your niche. Okay. Without this, you can just start posting your ads and see how much response you're gonna get, because I can guarantee you're gonna get very little, and if you do, you're gonna get money. You'll be offered to be paid like $10 maximum, depending where you are. Uh, so before we go any further, someone is watching us, so please say hi. Any comments? Give us an emoji that helps us being spread on Facebook. So just send us a hi. And Bogdan is going to do a little bit of a recap of what we did, what we spoke about in our previous live about how to identify your niche. So just note down those questions because you must really answer those before you go any further.
Yes, thank you. To have a niche, it's like having a plan in place. If you just randomly looking for some tutoring assignments, it's really hard. I have been there. Many of you have been there, so you probably can relate to that when you start teaching anybody just to get by, to put bread on the table, if you will, it's not fun. And we want you to get your head around this concept of a niche, because when you specialize, then you have time where you can actually book your clients, your customers, where you have your program in place so that you can focus on solving problems.
Where you can actually book your.
Sorry,
There's
I'm
a
just
feedback.
checking
Yeah.
if we're on live, if we're live, and we
So
are.
it is critical that you and I have a niche. You don't want to be worrying on daily basis. Where's my tutoring client coming from? Why they cancel? Or I wanted to charge them $37 per hour, but they say, well, we could do it for 12. Depending on the area where you live, those things are vary, but you really have to go back to the niche, because this is your why. This is the reason where you're creating the framework. What is it that you're passionate about? What is it that you want to teach? And then having that in place, you can say, okay, knowing what my niche is, then the identification of ideal client falls into place. So you will have to know your client based on geographical area, based on demographics, right? The age group. Where do they hang out on social media? Do you find them in groups of this nature or of that? For example, common mistake that we make as online teachers, we sign up for a group for tutors and we start posting that I can teach math from grade 6 to university level. Please, if you know someone, let them know. It doesn't work like that. And you know that there's no results at the end of the day. It's just a random selection, and you don't want to be random with your life. You have to have a business plan in place. You have to have a structure. You have to have someone, most likely, to help you to get on track, to establish yourself. It's a work that needs to be done. There's nothing like you wake up next day and say, okay, I have it figured out. No, it takes time. But without the proper steps, without support in place, there will be no progress. And we don't want you to struggle, because why? You deserve to know, to learn, and to implement.
Absolutely, yes. So yesterday we gave in a couple of examples of how to narrow down your niche, and today we want to just give you a few questions that you need to ask yourself when you look at defining the niche. So, what age group do they belong to? So your ideal clients, what age are they? Kids, adults? If you are targeting parents of the kids, then obviously you'll be talking to them in a different way. But also to identify whether they are able to pay for your services, you need to see their level of income. So you need to ask yourself, do they have kids? Do they have any other expenditure that is probably maybe blocking them from paying for your services, basically? So that brings me to the question of what level of income do they have? Are they on the low, mid, high? Maybe you could look into see whether there's any grants available in your country so you can support them for that. I know in the UK, I've got a feeling that if you register yourself in a certain through Ofsted, you probably could claim some money for your tutoring from there. But I need to double check that. It's just my from the little research I've got a hunch that might be an idea for that. Yes, what kind of activities do they do in free time, and what sort of social media do they hang out? Is it LinkedIn, Pinterest, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter? Because that will help you really to market on that place. Because once you know where they are, that's when you're going to target them through organic posting, right? Right, Bogdan?
Absolutely. What is also important is to understand your ideal clients at the level where you know what keeps them awake at night. What fears do they have? What are they afraid of? What solutions are they looking for? This is so important because without that, you will be randomly selecting potential prospect, hoping that that is your ideal client. Once you establish the clarity with your niche, then the clear steps will be taken for identifying your clients. Then you start observing changes in your business. But it requires work, right? There's nothing that will change overnight. It is a process, but it's so important. And when you observe those successful tutors online, you will quickly realize that they have a system in place. They follow path, because success leaves clues. If you know why they do certain things in certain way, then you will understand that you should model that. You should model by learning from them.
And there's nothing wrong with modeling somebody, because that means you are admiring somebody for their knowledge and expertise. But at the same time, it's good to add a little bit of twist to that new way of delivering something, because then it makes it your own. Because at the end of the day, the clients are going to come to you for that reason, not to somebody else. So the reason why we say to model it, but add two little twists, some personalization to the way you approach the subject, as a different method, something that really makes you unique, because that's what it is all about. Niche is about uniqueness. And when you make yourself unique from all the other 10, 20 teachers that teach the same subject, that's the reason why the people will come to you, not to somebody else. Because there are many providers on the internet who offer similar services to what we do with Bogdan, but everybody does it in a different way, and everybody will resonate with the right clientele. So that's the reason why, although we might be doing similar things, we do it in a slightly different approach. We do it with a different way, different model we apply. So that makes us different to another tutor trainer who is doing similar stuff. So the same with you guys. If you're teaching maths, trigonometry, for example, IB, is it IB trigonometry, right, Bogdan? That was the
Yeah.
niche
Yep.
yesterday.
Yesterday, yes, we talked
Yeah,
IB's program.
so you can have an experience as an examiner or something, or you've done many years of doing this preparation for the exam. You've got lots of testimonials that back up your expertise. So remember, always have testimonials ready to show that people are learning from you, that your solutions are actually working. So that's you need to start collecting those and start exposing them. Not just say, oh, I teach maths, IB, and if you need any more information, contact me. That's the old way of advertising. This is all gone now. This is very old school and not very effective. And I would like to hear from people who are doing this right now and tell me what results they're getting from that, because that would be really interesting to see whether what we're saying is actually validated. But I know that the many teachers who come to us, they are actually doing this and it's not working. So they are looking for an alternative way of finding the students. So Bogdan, just explain how from this, how they can actually find the students.
So as again, niche in place, that's the starting point, right? Once I know that I'm helping my IB students in trigonometry doing a problem solving, then already I crystallized my focus on, for example, a student who is 15, 16 years of age, taking that program, and they have struggles with solving problems in trigonometry. So imagine if I show up in a tutor's group and I say, I have a qualification, I can do this or that, then I'm not really speaking to the client, because my clients are probably parents group that I should be joining. I should provide some engaging conversation and values for parents. So once they get to know me, then they say, okay, let me get in touch with Bogdan because he can help my son or my daughter with this problem. So it's a process in place. You have to identify, do the research, right? You have to go search what are the key words that are people looking that are associated or aligned with your niche. What are the questions? For example, use a Google search and type of questions, and you see so many results are coming back, so many hits. So you know, okay, so this is a concern that people have, people asking about questions like that. And then you have to engage with those groups once you establish their location on social media and introduce yourself. Don't just do the cold sell right away. You have to get to know them. They have to know you. You have to converse with them before you start promoting your services.
Yeah.
But you have to have a plan in place.
So I'm going to come back to the point that I mentioned previously, that there are 3 stages before you can actually start selling to people. It's getting to know you, like you, and trust you. In any kind of business, you're not going to go on, do you like cold calling? If you don't like cold calling, why do you do it yourself? You are most likely going to repel that customer, because what you don't like, that's the same coming to you. So I never do direct messaging because I just don't like that myself. I delete them, or I hardly ever respond to them. So I would not want to do cold calling through messaging myself, because I know that the energy that I give is going to come back to me. I know you need to understand the law of attraction in here, to understand that concept, that what you give comes back to you. And if you give something good, it comes back something good to you. If you don't, whatever the vibration you give out, it comes back to you. So because you are bringing that vibration, you are aligning yourself with that vibration, So you drawing it to yourself. So that's why it's so important that you only do things that are aligned with you, with your personality. Don't do something that doesn't fit well in your heart, not your head, your heart, because your heart is the baseline for everything that you achieve in your life. So do things that are aligned with that pumping uh, beating heart in you in here, because that is going to be something that you're gonna love doing, and it's gonna be given out with the right vibration, and people will receive it with that vibration, and they will respond to it in the right way. So that's why, remember guys, to find your students, you need to do your market research. Find out what the problems are that you can solve for your students. Don't just be general. We talked about it previously. General is gone, okay? There's too many teachers, tutors online for you to be general. Now it's time to be focusing on one specific part of the market. I know you may think it is narrowing my options, but I want you to look. We're gonna cover that, I think, again in another session. How you can actually see the figures. We spoke about it in a previous session, so go and look at it again in a video where we talked about general teacher versus a niche teacher. So find that one, and you'll see the reasons why we're saying that focusing now is actually putting you more in control of how many hours you work and how much you charge, and how the difference actually is showing in that within the 20 hours per week. So have a look at that. And so when you have looked at the problems your clients have, talk to them, offer them some simple solutions. It doesn't mean that you think, or you start thinking, oh, I'm missing out on a sale. No. When you start engaging with your people the first time, try to be supportive. Offer something, a free worksheet of some sort that is relevant to what they're doing. Maybe they will find value in that. If they do, they will come to you, and that's how it works. People get to know you through that way, and get to like you because you've answered the question, and then they trust you. So this is how you would find the students, by engaging with them. And now we're going to come back to where. So where is when you first do your market research, you're going to look at where your clients are. So it will be Pinterest, Instagram, Facebook, or LinkedIn, depending of their background. But mostly clients are on Facebook. If you are going to be dealing with professionals, you're going to go on LinkedIn and look for your clients over there. And the only way to do it is to put in the keywords of your niche. And that's how you're going to find the groups that your niche hangs out in. And Bogdan, I'll leave you to elaborate a little bit more on that, if you don't mind.
Right, because when you understand, for example, that your parents are the customers, for example, I'm going back to this example with IB students, right, 15, 16 years of age. So the group that you're looking for will be parents who have children of that age. So that's number one step. The second step, do they take IB program? Their kids, right? So you start going from the big dot, you make it smaller, right? Now, then you have to, once you know, okay, this is the group of parents whose children have IB program students in their schools, then you have to narrow next step down. You're locking on problem solving in trigonometry, for example. Just as an example, and any niche provides opportunity for you to grow and to make a living. And it doesn't matter, dog training, photography, music, teaching, playing on different instruments. No matter what your skills are, there is a niche for you. And the niche takes time to figure it out. Then from that niche, you go step by step, locking down on your target. Target is the clients that you want to serve. So you're on the mission. Remember, you follow your heart. There is a reason why you wanted to do that already. That means you could have been doing other things, watching Netflix and then working for companies, but something said in your mind, let me try on my own. So don't give up. Apply your dreams into reality. Every day there's a step moving forward. Don't walk away and say, well, it's not for me because it's too much work. I'm not very no skills. You have skills because you came and you're watching us. So that is important. Now you have to just keep that fire and grow from it. But there has to be a plan in place, obviously. There's no random sort of jumping from place A to B and then looking for random solutions. You have to create a plan of action and follow that.
So, yes, and I don't want and people might think, but you actually haven't actually told us how to find those students. Well, we actually have. The how is to understand your niche, know what you're gonna solve for those people, and then you can actually go and find them. So coming back to this IB student, so let's say you live in a because IB usually, I don't think it's going to be taught in the UK, but it will be taught in foreign countries. Well, I lived in Bahrain for a while, and we had American curriculum schools. So if you were to go and find clients, you would look for the area where you're in. Let's say you live in Bahrain. You look for any schools that offer IB, and you then post in that area. You find Facebook groups that might be relevant to that school or to that area that these parents might be hanging out. So this is how you actually find them. You go through the steps. So once you know who you're looking for, then you go find them by joining the relevant groups. And I don't want you to go into the groups and say, oh, I teach IB. Do you need any services? No, that's not what we do. We say we offer them something, a lead magnet, something that is going to make them interested. Unless there is somebody specifically looking for an IB tutor, then you obviously respond to that by saying, oh, I've got a unique way of approaching this. I've had so many years of experience as that with the 100% success rate. And then if somebody specifically asks you, then I obviously would encourage you to respond to that. But unless you join in a new group, just engage with them. It is really important that you engage with the parents. Parents become, especially when their kids go to international schools, that means parents have got money, right? Because they can afford these schools. So then you need to engage with those parents in a more professional manner. Don't sell, just talk to them. Say, do a little live video explaining some sort of issues related to the exam. Offer some sort of simple solutions to the problems that you have identified that these students have. And if that resonates with the parent, they will come to you because they'll think, oh my God, this is the right teacher I was looking for. He actually understands my kids, etc.